Let's continue our work with data and statistics by starting to understand measures of central tendency. That's a really fancy way of saying averages. Now, you've probably learned a little bit about averages by this time, and so now you're going to learn that there are 3 different ways that we actually look at the average data in a data set. So just to recap really quickly, this is something called a data set. So this is our data. And as I always recommend, we're going to put this data in order from least to greatest. And I'm going to do this on my paper. You might want to copy it down. If you already have something printed out, it's really nice because you can find the smallest number first. There are 2 11s. You're going to cross them out. This helps us keep track of those 11s and what we've put in the data set. This part you have to be very careful with. Here's our 12. Our next biggest number is 15. The next one is 16, 17, and 18. Now, technically, to do the mean, which is actually what you've been calling average the whole time, so most of you probably already know how to calculate this. We're just giving it a new word. To do the mean, you don't really have to put them in order, but I recommend that you always put them in order because as you've learned, you can find the range from here by taking the biggest to the smallest, and all the rest of the measures of central tendency, well, one of the other measures of central tendency really needs to have this in order to find the middle. And that's what average means. It means the middle. Now, technically for the mean, we didn't need to do that. All we really need to do is add these all up. So that's what we're going to do now. Let's go ahead and grab a different color here. We're going to add them. Just like this. Now, obviously here, if in your class you're allowed to use a calculator, this is when I would recommend getting that calculator out. If you are not able to use a calculator, then you would come over and do some side work where you're adding each of them together. 11 plus 11, for example, is 22. And then you would take 22 and add 12. And obviously you need to be very careful if you're doing this method, maybe even come up with a system so you can track what you've added together. So you can do the side work and the addition, and when you add all of these up, you're going to find that they add up to the number 100. The last step then that you need to do is divide the total. So our formula that we're going to be using is total divided by the number of data, right? How many data pieces there are. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 100 divided by 7. You can also write it as 100 divided by 7. If you are doing the long division, you would do it this way. Oh, it doesn't go in 7 times, it goes in once. 10 minus 7 is 3. 7 goes into 30 4 times, 28. And when we subtract, we get a remainder of 2. Now, of course, we probably don't want to work with remainders. We want to work with decimals. If you were to put this into your calculator, you are going to get 14.2857, and it continues going. And so we're going to round that off to 14.3 in our calculator. And that's our final answer. Let's go ahead and do one more example. Here we go. And so now, like I always recommend, although it's not strictly necessary for this, we're going to put these in order. And so this is 4, 4, and 4. Oh, I forgot the 2. and the 3. Then 7. There are 3 9s, but 1 8. 9, 9, 9, and a 10. And now I'm going to go ahead and center that since I forgot the 2 and the 3 from the beginning. Of course, if you're working on your paper, you could erase and put the 2 and 3, or you could just insert it the way that I did. No big deal. So now I'm going to go ahead and get that calculator out, and remember that we are just adding up every data set together all the way down the row. 2 plus 3 plus 4, 4 and 4, 7, 8, 9, 9, 9, and 10. And that's going to add up to 69. Now what we're going to do is take that total, 69, and we're going to divide it by the number of data points we have. And you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now this is the part where I would get my calculator out, but again, you can do long division, which would be 69 divided by 11. 11 goes into 69 6 times, because that is 66. When you subtract these, 9 minus 6 is 3, 6 minus 6 is 0, so we would have a remainder of 3. Now, like I've said, we're not really going to be using remainders. Let's go ahead, since we have a little bit of space here, and figure out what would we do. We're going to put our decimal here, and we're going to add a 0, and then we're going to bring that 0 down to turn this 3 into a 30. 11 goes into 30 2 times, and this is 22. And when we subtract, we get a remainder of 8. Now, we want to round it off to the tenths place. And so we're going to add one more 0, bring this down one more time, and see 11 goes into 80 7 times. So just as a brief review of rounding here as well, now that we know this is a 7, that's going to bump that 2 up to 6.3. And that's our final answer. Now, if you are also doing long division because it's required in your classroom, I highly recommend that you pull your calculator out and also do 69 over 11. And what your calculator is going to say is 6.2727, and it's going to go on and on like this. Now, technically, we can also rewrite this as 6.27 repeating, because this is a repeating decimal. Again, this isn't also a valid answer, but we would more commonly write it as 6.3 in data and statistics. Good luck!